Welcome back to our channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and their hidden fortunes. Today we are going to explore the top 9 most valuable and rare Lincoln 1-cent penny coins that could be worth millions. These tiny pieces of copper and zinc might be sitting unnoticed in your pocket change right now. What makes them special is not only their age but also their rarity and the incredible stories behind them. Get ready because you might just discover that a penny in your possession could change your life forever. Today we are diving deep into the story of a coin that looks ordinary to the untrained eye yet holds a value that can shock even experienced collectors. The 1973 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin. Now at first glance most people would think it is just a regular penny, one that could be rattling around in your pocket or sitting at the bottom of a jar at home, but the truth is this coin has an incredible history and in certain rare conditions it has been known to sell for as much as $64,908. Yes, you heard that right, a single 1-cent piece from 1973 without a mint mark can be worth more than a brand new luxury car, and in some cases even more than a small house. To understand why this particular penny is so valuable, we first need to go back in time to the early 1970s. The Lincoln cent had been in circulation since 1909, replacing the Indian head cent and honoring the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin features Lincoln's profile on the obverse with the words "In God We Trust" above his head, the word "Liberty" to the left, and the date to the right. The reverse at that time still featured the Lincoln Memorial, which had replaced the wheat ears reverse in 1959. 1973, the United States Mint produced Lincoln cents at several facilities including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coins, made in Denver, bear a small D mint mark just below the date, while those from San Francisco carry an S. The coins from Philadelphia, however, traditionally had no mint mark at all, and that is why a coin without a mint mark from that year would normally not be unusual. So why would a 1973 no mint mark penny be worth tens of thousands of dollars? The answer lies in the details. A rare combination of factors can make a common coin into a valuable treasure. First is the condition. The highest auction prices are achieved by coins that have never been in circulation. These are called mint state coins, graded by professional grading services at extremely high levels such as MS-67, MS-68, or in rare cases even MS-69. At such high grades the coin appears almost flawless under magnification with sharp details, full luster, and no visible wear. Another factor that can make the 1973 no mint mark penny valuable is a minting error. During the minting process sometimes mistakes happen. The dies used to strike the coins might be misaligned. The planchet, the blank piece of metal, could be of the wrong composition, or a doubled die could cause parts of the design to appear doubled. Such error coins are highly sought after by collectors and can command massive premiums. One famous example involved a 1973 no mint mark Lincoln cent graded MS-67 red that sold for an eye-watering $64,908. This coin was in pristine condition, showing full red coloration, no visible blemishes, and razor-sharp detail. From the strike, it was likely pulled from circulation immediately after minting or stored carefully from the day it was struck, allowing it to retain its perfect state for decades. To put this in perspective, most 1973 no mint mark pennies found in pocket change today are worth only their face value, which is 1 cent. However, if you find one in an uncirculated roll or a coin collection, and it appears flawless under close inspection, it could be worth sending to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. If it comes back with an extremely high grade, you could be looking at a life-changing amount of money. Now let's dive into the history of the composition of the 1973 penny. This was before the 1982 change, when the U.S. Mint switched from a mostly copper composition to a copper-plated zinc core. The 1973 Lincoln cent is composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, and weighs 3.11 grams. This composition gives the coin a rich color and a heavier feel than modern pennies. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins in 1973, which is why most people think they are common. However, the number of coins that have survived in perfect mint state condition is extremely small. Combine that rarity of condition with the natural appeal of copper coins that maintain their full red luster, and you have the perfect storm for collector demand and high prices. Collectors are also drawn to coins from this era because they represent a transitional time in American history. The early 1970s were marked by political changes, the end of the Vietnam War, and shifts in the economy, the penny itself was still made mostly of copper, which would soon become too costly for the mint to use due to rising metal prices. In a way, owning a pristine 1973 no-mint mark penny is like holding a small piece of 1970s America in your hand, a snapshot of that time period preserved forever in metal. So how do you know if your 1973 no-mint mark penny is valuable? First, check the date, and make sure there is no letter under it, meaning no D or S mint mark. Then examine the coin under a good light. Look for strong details in Lincoln's hair and beard, clear lettering, and no signs of wear. The color should be bright red without spots or dark toning. If you believe your coin is in top condition, it might be worth getting it graded. Even coins that are not in the absolute highest grades can still be worth more than face value if they are in uncirculated condition. For example, a 1973 no-mint mark penny graded MS65 red might sell for several $100s, while an MS66 could go for over $1,000. The jump in value between MS66 and MS67 is huge, and reaching MS68 is like hitting the jackpot. This is because so few coins from 1973 have survived with perfect surfaces and full original color. Auction houses often feature these rare high-grade coins, and bidding can be fierce. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents sometimes spend years hunting for just the right example to complete their set. The thrill of finding one in a roll of coins from the bank or in an old collection is part of what keeps the hobby exciting and alive. Now let us talk about storage and preservation. If you find a coin you believe could be valuable, it is important not to handle it roughly. Oils and dirt from your fingers can damage the surface. Use cotton gloves or hold the coin by its edges. Store it in a protective holder such as a mylar flip or an airtight capsule. Keep it in a cool, dry place away from sunlight to prevent toning or discoloration. Some collectors go even further by keeping their valuable coins in climate-controlled safes. This level of care ensures that the coin will remain in the best possible condition for decades and possibly even increase in value over time. The coin market is influenced by collector demand, rarity, and historical interest, so a top-quality 1973 no-mint mark penny is likely to remain desirable for many years. It is also worth mentioning that while most valuable examples come from professional grading results, you can still find ungraded coins that are worth good money. These are often found in estates or old coin collections passed down through generations. The key is knowing what to look for and being willing to take the time to examine each coin carefully. When we look at the $64,908 example, it is a reminder that treasures can still be found in the most unexpected places. That penny could have easily ended up spent on a cup of coffee back in the 70s, yet somehow it was preserved and eventually recognized for its true worth. Stories like this inspire collectors to keep searching and keep learning about the coins they encounter. As we wrap up this deep dive into the 1973 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, remember that coin collecting is not just about the money, it is also about history, art, and the thrill of discovery. Every coin has a story to tell, and in the case of this penny, that story spans decades from the day it was struck in the Philadelphia Mint to the moment it crossed the auction block for a small fortune. So next time you have some spare change, take a closer look at those pennies. You might just have a small fortune hiding in plain sight, and even if you do not find a $64,000 coin, you will still be connecting with a hobby that has fascinated people for centuries. Thank you for joining me in exploring the history and value of the 1973 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, keep watching our channel for more fascinating stories. Welcome back to the channel where we explore the fascinating world of rare coins, unique history, and incredible values. Today we will dive deep into one of the most remarkable treasures in the Lincoln cent series, the 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin, with a current market value reaching up to $79,745. This humble penny has captured the attention of collectors and numismatic enthusiasts all over the world. We are about to uncover the story behind its creation, why it is so special, how to identify it, and the reasons it has soared in value over time. To truly appreciate the significance of the 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, we first need to understand the background of the Lincoln cent series. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first regular-issue United States coin to feature the image of an actual person. Its obverse displays the profile of Lincoln, while the reverse originally carried the wheat ears. Design from 1909 to 1958, and later was changed to the Lincoln Memorial design starting in 1959. By the year 1977, the Lincoln cent was a well-established part of American currency and millions were being struck annually at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. However, coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint traditionally carried no mint mark. This means that any coin struck there would display only the date with no additional letter identifying the mint location for the 1977 issue. This is exactly what we see. A coin minted in Philadelphia will simply read 1977 without any D or S below the date. But why does the 1977 no mint mark Lincoln cent become such a desirable and valuable piece? There are several factors that contribute to its appeal. First is the rarity of high-grade examples. While millions of these coins were produced, most were quickly put into circulation and endured heavy wear. Finding a coin from 1977 in pristine uncirculated condition with strong luster and minimal marks is extremely rare. These high-grade coins are what command the highest prices in the collector's market. Second is the historical context. In the late 1970s, the United States economy was facing a period of inflation, and the value of copper was steadily increasing. At that time, the Lincoln cent was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This metal composition meant that even the face value of the coin was close to the value of its metal content. The rising price of copper made these coins more interesting to collectors and investors. Third is the appeal of coins from the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark. Some collectors focus exclusively on building complete date and mint mark sets, and the no mint mark coins often become important keys in those collections. The 1977 no mint mark cent in exceptional condition fits perfectly into that niche. Now let us discuss how to identify a valuable 1977 no mint mark Lincoln cent. When examining a coin, the first step is to check the date and make sure there is no D or S below the year. This confirms it is a Philadelphia issue. The next step is to examine the coin's condition. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from poor to perfect mint state. Mint state grades range from MS60 to MS70, with MS70 being flawless. Coins that are graded MS67 or higher for the 1977 no mint mark cent are extremely rare and valuable. Another feature to look for is strong strike details on the obverse. Lincoln's hair and the lines on his coat should be sharp and clear. On the reverse, the details of the Lincoln Memorial columns and steps should be fully visible without flat spots. A well-struck coin will always be more desirable to collectors. The market value of the 1977 no mint mark Lincoln cent has grown steadily over the years in average circulated condition. The coin is worth only a few cents over face value, but in gem uncirculated condition the value can jump dramatically. According to auction records, examples graded MS67 red have sold for tens of thousands of dollars. The top price recorded has reached an astonishing $79,745, making it one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents in existence. Collectors often ask why such a common date coin can achieve such a high price. The answer lies in the balance between supply and demand. While millions were minted, the supply of flawless examples is extremely low. Combine this with the demand from collectors completing high-grade registry sets, and you have a recipe for record-breaking prices. It is also important to understand the role of professional grading services in determining value. Coins graded and certified by organizations like the Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Company offer buyers confidence in the authenticity and quality of the coin. A 1977 no mint mark cent graded MS67 red by one of these top services will fetch far more than an ungraded coin of similar appearance. Now let us take a journey into the world of collecting strategies. If you are aiming to find a 1977 no mint mark Lincoln cent worth serious money, you will need patience, persistence, and a good eye. Many successful collectors start by searching through bank rolls or coin jars at home. While the odds of finding a top-grade coin in circulation are low, it is not impossible. Others focus on attending coin shows where dealers may offer unsearched rolls or high-grade examples for sale. Another strategy is to build relationships with local coin shops. These dealers often set aside exceptional coins for their best customers, and having a trusted source can be invaluable in building a quality collection for online collectors. Reputable auction houses and marketplaces are also an option, but you should always verify the seller's reputation and the authenticity of the coin before making a purchase beyond its monetary value. The 1977 No mint mark Lincoln cent carries historical and cultural significance. It represents a period in American history when coin design, tradition, production practices, and economic factors all converged. It is a reminder of the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln on American coinage, and the way small everyday objects can become cherished artifacts over time. In the world of numismatics, rarity, quality, and demand are the keys to value, and the 1977 no mint mark Lincoln cent exemplifies all three. This unassuming penny has the power to surprise, inspire, and reward those who appreciate its unique story. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone who has just discovered the hobby, this coin offers a fascinating lesson in the art and science of collecting. So the next time you come across a 1977 penny, take a closer look. If it has no mint mark and appears in brilliant uncirculated condition, you could be holding a small piece of history worth far more than 1 cent, and who knows, you might even find one that could change your collecting journey forever. Thank you for joining me in this deep exploration of the 1977 no mint mark Lincoln 1 cent coin. Stay tuned for more fascinating coin stories and discoveries from the world of numismatics. In the world of coin collecting, few coins spark as much curiosity as the 1979 no mint mark Lincoln 1 cent coin. This is a humble copper coin, at first glance a piece of pocket change many people would overlook, yet beneath its modest appearance lies a fascinating history, and in certain rare cases a breathtaking market value that can reach as high as $91,866. That is right, a single penny from 1979 without a mint mark has been known to bring a fortune to its fortunate owner. To truly understand the story of the 1979 no mint mark Lincoln penny, we must begin with the legacy of the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln 1 cent coin first entered circulation in 1909, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This was the first United States coin to feature a real person's portrait instead of a symbolic figure. Brenner's design showcased Lincoln's profile on the obverse or front side with the words "In God We Trust" arching above his head. The date appeared to the right, and the word "Liberty" to the left. The reverse design at that time displayed 2 wheat ears along with the words 1 cent and United States of America. This wheat reverse continued until 1959, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design created by Frank Gasparo in 1979. This design was still in use. The reverse featured the Lincoln Memorial in great detail with tiny visible steps and columns, and if you looked closely with a magnifying glass you could even see a small seated statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, just like the real structure in Washington, D.C. The composition of the 1979 penny was primarily copper, specifically 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. This would change just a few years later in 1982, when rising copper prices forced the U.S. Mint to switch to a predominantly zinc composition coated with copper, but in 1979 each penny still contained solid copper, giving it a rich reddish tone when freshly struck and a darker brownish hue as it aged. Now what about that no mint mark detail? Coins are produced at various U.S. Mint facilities, and they usually bear a small letter indicating their origin. For example, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and P for Philadelphia. In 1979 pennies struck in Denver had a D mint mark, and those struck in San Francisco were often proof coins with an S mark. However, coins from Philadelphia generally carried no mint mark at all. This was standard practice for many decades. The absence of a mint mark did not make a coin rare on its own, but certain 1979 Philadelphia strikes have characteristics that make them incredibly valuable to collectors today. For most 1979 no mint mark pennies, the value is simply 1 cent in circulated condition, or maybe a few dollars in uncirculated grades, but a tiny fraction of these coins were struck with exceptional sharpness, perfect centering, flawless surfaces, and brilliant luster. In coin collecting, these are known as high-grade or mint state examples, graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. A flawless coin can earn a grade of MS68 or even higher. Such grades are rare because any tiny scratch, nick, or blemish lowers the score. It is these ultra-high grade specimens that can fetch prices in the tens of thousands. One such coin, graded at the absolute top end of the scale, sold for an astonishing $91,866 at auction. The reason is simple: coin collectors prize condition, rarity, over sheer mintage numbers. Even though millions of 1979 no-mint mark pennies were made, only a handful survive in pristine condition from the day they left the press. To understand why perfect coins are so rare, think about the journey of a penny. After minting, pennies are struck by the thousands, then dropped into bins and bags where they clatter together, causing tiny marks. They are shipped to banks and passed through counting machines. Then they enter circulation, where they are handled, dropped, and rubbed against other coins. This is why finding a penny with absolutely no marks, spots, or discoloration is so incredibly uncommon. Beyond condition, there are also certain error varieties from 1979 that can increase value. Errors occur when something goes wrong during the minting process. Some examples include off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing; double dies, where the design appears doubled; or coins struck on the wrong planchet, meaning a blank intended for another denomination. While the famous $91,866 sale came from a perfect grade rather than an error, certain dramatic errors from this year can also bring hundreds, or even thousands of dollars. Another reason collectors value the 1979 penny is its place in the transition period of U.S. coinage. The early 1980s brought significant changes in composition, production methods, and even the quality control standards of the U.S. Mint. Many collectors see the late 1970s as the last era of the classic copper cent. Thus, owning a perfect example from 1979 is not just owning a coin, but owning a piece of history right before a turning point in American coinage. Let us take a closer look at the design details. The obverse or head side features Lincoln's right-facing profile. His hair and beard are carefully engraved with fine lines. The date 1979 appears to the right. The word liberty is to the left. The motto, "In God We Trust," runs above, and just beneath Lincoln's chin you can see the tiny initials VDB for Victor David Brenner. On the reverse or tails side, the Lincoln Memorial is framed by the words United States of America at the top and E Pluribus Unum just above the memorial. 1 cent is boldly displayed at the bottom. The tiny seated figure of Lincoln inside the memorial is a hidden detail many people never notice but collectors appreciate when evaluating a 1979 no-mint mark penny. For value, you must consider several factors. First is the grade, which measures how close to perfect the coin is. Second is eye appeal, which includes color toning and luster. Third is strike quality, meaning how clearly the design details were impressed onto the coin. And fourth is whether it has any rare errors or varieties. Coins with deep original red copper color graded as MS67 or MS68 can bring extraordinary prices. If you are curious about finding one of these valuable coins, start by checking your change. Although the odds are small, there is always a possibility. You should also visit coin shows or reputable dealers and look through uncirculated rolls of 1979 pennies from bank vaults. Some coin hunters have found near gem examples in old rolls that had been stored untouched for decades. Once you believe you have a high-grade example, you will need to have it professionally graded. Grading services place coins in protective holders with labels indicating their grade and authentication. This gives buyers confidence and allows the coin to sell for its true market value without grading. Even a perfect-looking penny will not bring the same high price because serious collectors rely on certified grades. It is also important to note that market values can fluctuate. The record price of $91,866 was achieved under specific conditions with intense bidding between collectors at a major auction. The next sale might be slightly lower or possibly even higher if two determined bidders both want the same coin. This is part of the excitement of coin collecting. The value of a coin is ultimately determined by what someone is willing to pay for it in the moment. The 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how numismatics, the study and collection of coins, combines history, artistry, and economics. A coin worth just 1 cent in face value can, through rarity, condition, and collector demand, become a treasure worth more than many luxury cars. This transformation from pocket change to prized possession is what keeps collectors searching for the next great discovery. So if you come across a 1979 penny without a mint mark, do not dismiss it as ordinary. Take a moment to examine its condition. Look for sharp details, no scratches, vibrant red copper color, and clean fields free of spots or haze. If it looks exceptional, it may be worth sending to a grading service, and who knows, you might just be holding a coin that could bring you nearly $92,000 in today's market. This little copper disc connects you to over a century of American coinage history, from Brenner's original 1909 wheat design to Gasparo's memorial reverse to the present day. It represents the artistry of the mint engravers, the industrial power of the presses, and the everyday history of countless transactions. Its story is proof that sometimes the most ordinary looking objects can hide the most extraordinary value. Welcome back to our channel, where today we take a fascinating deep dive into the incredible story of the 1980 Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent coin and explore the history behind it along with the surprising current market value of $40,309. Many people often underestimate the power of the humble penny, thinking it is just a small copper coin that barely holds value in everyday transactions, but as collectors and coin enthusiasts know, a single penny can sometimes be worth a fortune, and this is exactly the case with the rare and highly sought-after 1980 Lincoln cent. The story of this coin begins with the Lincoln cent series itself, which was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This was the first United States coin to feature the image of a real historical person rather than a symbolic figure, and the design became an instant icon in American coinage. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the Lincoln cent features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse originally carried the wheat ears design that we know from the wheat penny era, lasting from 1909 until 1958. In 1959, the reverse was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and this design remained in use until 2008. By 1980, the Lincoln cent had been in production for over 70 years, and the coins were being struck in huge numbers to meet the demands of commerce. The 1980 Mint Mark Lincoln cent was struck at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small d Mint mark located below the date on the obverse side of the coin. The Denver Mint had a long history of producing high-quality coinage, and in 1980 millions of Lincoln cents were struck. However, even though the mintage was large, certain coins from this year stand out because of their condition, striking quality, and rare varieties that can make them worth thousands of dollars today. One of the reasons the 1980 Lincoln cent has become such a valuable coin in certain cases is the demand for high-grade mint state examples. Coins that have been preserved without ever entering circulation and that shown nowhere can receive high grades from professional grading services. In the world of coin collecting, a grade of MS65 or higher from a grading company like PCGS or NGC can send the value of a common coin skyrocketing. This is exactly what has happened with certain specimens of the 1980 Lincoln cent. In addition to conditions, some 1980 Lincoln cents have errors or unique characteristics that make them even more desirable. For example, there are coins with off-center strikes, double dies, or other striking anomalies that catch the attention of collectors. Error coins can command incredible premiums because they are essentially one of a kind and they tell a unique story about the minting process. While not every 1980 Lincoln cent with a high price tag is an error coin, those with a combination of rarity and pristine condition have sold for remarkable amounts at auctions and private sales. Let us also look at the composition of the coin. In 1980, the Lincoln cent was still being struck primarily from a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This composition gave the coin its traditional reddish-brown appearance and weight of 3.11 grams. It was not until 1982 that the composition changed to a copper-plated zinc core to reduce costs. Because of this, the 1980 copper cents are also valued by metal enthusiasts for their higher copper content, although melting cents for their metal is prohibited by law in the United States. The rich copper tone and solid feel of these coins add to their nostalgic appeal for collectors. When we think about how a 1-cent coin can reach a market value of over $40,000, we must understand the dynamics of rarity demand and the competitive spirit of collectors. Coin collecting is not just about owning metal, it is about holding a piece of history. The 1980 Lincoln cent is from a time when the United States was going through significant political and economic changes, with inflation shaping the economy and the penny still holding some purchasing power in daily life. For collectors who focus on building complete sets of Lincoln cents in the highest possible grades, finding a flawless example from each year and mint mark becomes a lifelong mission. Auction records show that certain 1980 Lincoln cents in pristine condition have reached astonishing prices when sold to determined collectors. One such example, in immaculate condition with a perfect strike luster and no noticeable blemishes, achieved a price tag of $40,309, making it one of the most valuable modern-era Lincoln cents in existence. This shows that it is not just the old coins from the 1800s or early 1900s that can reach high values. Even relatively modern coins can surprise the market if they are rare enough in top condition. To truly appreciate the value of the 1980 Lincoln cent, we should also understand how grading works. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect coin with no flaws visible under magnification. The higher the grade, the more the coin can be worth. Many coins from 1980 have been in circulation for decades, acquiring scratches, dings, and other signs of wear, which makes high-grade uncirculated examples much harder to find. That scarcity in top grades is what drives the price up. Collectors also pay attention to the strike quality of the coin, which refers to how well the details of the design are impressed onto the planchet during minting. A sharp strike shows all the fine details of Lincoln's hair and beard, as well as the texture of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Luster, which is the sheen produced by the minting process, also plays a role in determining value. Coins with bright original luster tend to attract higher bids from collectors. The market for the 1980 Lincoln cent is also influenced by trends in coin collecting. As more people become interested in numismatics and start building collections, the demand for rare and high-quality coins increases. Social media, online marketplaces, and coin shows all help spread awareness about valuable coins, which can lead to bidding wars and higher prices. In recent years, the popularity of modern coin collecting has surged, especially for coins from the latter half of the 20th century, which were once overlooked in favor of older classics. For anyone hoping to find a valuable 1980 Lincoln cent, the search can begin in pocket change coin rolls from banks or inherited coin jars. While the chances of finding a $40,000 example in circulation are slim, it is not impossible. Many valuable coins have been discovered by sharp-eyed collectors checking everyday change. The key is to look for coins that have minimal wear, sharp details, and strong original color. If you do find a coin that you think might be valuable, the next step is to have it professionally graded and authenticated. Reputable grading services provide not only a grade but also a guarantee of authenticity, which is crucial when selling to serious collectors. A coin in a sealed graded holder can fetch much more than an ungraded example because buyers can trust the assessment. In conclusion, the 1980 Mint Mark Lincoln 1 cent coin is a remarkable reminder that value is not always about face value or age, but about rarity, condition, and collector demand. From its historical roots in the Lincoln cent series to its record-breaking market price of $40,309, this coin tells a story of craftsmanship, history, and the thrill of the hunt. So the next time you see a simple penny in your change, take a closer look, because you might just be holding a small fortune in your hand. Welcome to another deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins. Today we will explore the history, background, and current market value of the 1981 No Mint Mark Lincoln 1 cent coin. This is a story that connects American history, numismatic rarity, and the thrill of finding hidden treasure in everyday pocket change. The Lincoln 1 cent coin has been a staple of American currency since 1909, when it was first introduced to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. The original, designed by Victor David Brenner, featured a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse or front of the coin, along with the words "In God We Trust," the word "Liberty," and the date of minting. The reverse or back design at that time featured 2 wheat stalks and was commonly known as the wheat penny. By 1959, the reverse design changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design remained in use for decades and was still being struck in 1981. However, by 1981, a subtle but significant change occurred with certain coins, especially those produced at the Philadelphia Mint. These coins bore no mint mark at all and became known as No Mint Mark Lincoln cents. Now you might be wondering, why would a coin have no mint mark? The mint mark is a small letter or letters on the coin indicating where it was produced. For example, a D would indicate the Denver Mint, an S would indicate the San Francisco Mint, and a P, or the absence of any mark, would usually indicate the Philadelphia Mint. In 1981, Philadelphia did not routinely place a P mint mark on 1 cent coins, meaning the coins were struck without any visible mint mark on the obverse. While the 1981 No Mint Mark Lincoln cent might seem common at first glance, there are certain rare varieties and exceptional conditions that make some of these coins incredibly valuable. Coins that are perfectly preserved with sharp details, full luster, and no signs of wear can be worth far more than their face value in the world. of coin collecting condition is everything. The grading system used by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC ranges from poor at the low end to mint state 70 at the highest possible grade. One of the most notable 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln cents reached a staggering value of $63,983 at auction. This was due to its pristine condition, rarity in such a state, and intense bidding from collectors who knew the importance of owning a flawless example of this specific year and minting variation. It is important to understand that most 1981 no-mint mark pennies you find in circulation today will not be worth anywhere near that amount. They might fetch only a few cents above face value unless they are in exceptional uncirculated condition or possess unique errors. Some of the errors that can make a coin more valuable include doubled dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or unusual striking flaws. The history of the 1981 Lincoln cent is also tied to a major shift in coin composition. Prior to 1982, cents were made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This gave the coins a heavier feel and a richer color. The rising price of copper in the early 1980s forced the United States Mint to change the composition to a primarily zinc core with only a thin copper plating. While the composition change officially happened in 1982, the 1981 coins still carried the full copper weight, making them desirable to certain collectors and metal enthusiasts. When talking about the market value of rare coins like the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, we have to consider three key factors. First is rarity. The fewer examples available in high grade, the more collectors are willing to pay. Second is condition. A coin that is fresh from the mint and has never been touched by human hands will naturally command a premium. Third is demand. When a coin gains popularity among collectors, demand can surge and prices can skyrocket. The auction scene for rare coins can be intense. Imagine a room full of collectors, each with deep knowledge of numismatic history, and each eager to own the finest known example of a certain date and type. When that 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln cent in near perfect condition came up for sale, bidding started high and climbed rapidly. The final hammer price shocked many observers, but it also reinforced the reality that even a simple penny can be worth a life-changing sum when the right conditions are met. For those interested in searching for valuable 1981 no-mint mark pennies, there are some tips to keep in mind. First, look for coins that appear untouched with bright luster and sharp details. The fields or flat areas of the coin should be free of scratches and marks. The high points, such as Lincoln's cheek and jawline, should show no signs of wear. Second, check for any unusual characteristics like doubling in the lettering or date. This might require a magnifying glass or microscope. Third, consider having any promising finds evaluated by a reputable coin grading service. The story of the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln cent also teaches us something about the broader field of coin collecting. It shows that value is not only about age, but also about rarity, condition, and historical significance. There are coins from the 1800s worth only a few dollars and coins from the late 20th century worth tens of thousands. The key is knowing what to look for and understanding the market. Some collectors specialize in Lincoln cents alone, building sets that include every year, every mint mark, and every major variety. Others focus on finding the highest grade examples possible. These collections often become lifelong projects passed down through generations. The passion for coins often begins with a simple discovery in change received at a store and grows into a deep and rewarding hobby. The 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, valued at $63,983, is a reminder that treasures can still be found in the most unexpected places. It also stands as a symbol of how everyday objects can become extraordinary artifacts when preserved and appreciated. The combination of a common design, a specific minting detail, and perfect condition turned a 1-cent coin into a prize worth more than many luxury cars. When you hold a penny in your hand, take a moment to look closely at its details. Think about the history it represents, the era in which it was made, and the journey it has taken to reach you. In the case of the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, it might have traveled through decades without ever losing its mint luster, waiting for the right collector to recognize its value. In the end, coin collecting is not just about money, it is about preserving history, understanding craftsmanship, and connecting with a shared cultural heritage. The 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is a perfect example of how something small can carry immense historical and financial weight. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone Just starting out, the lesson is clear: always check your change, because you never know when you might be holding a small fortune worth $63,983. So the next time you come across a shiny old penny, do not dismiss it as just another cent. It could be your entry into the fascinating world of numismatics, and perhaps your chance to own a piece of history that will be treasured for generations to come. Welcome to this deep dive into one of the most fascinating coins in modern American history, the 1982 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent coin, a piece of copper and zinc that has captured the attention of coin collectors, historians, and treasure hunters across the nation. Today, we will take you on a journey through the story of this coin, its origins, the historical backdrop in which it was created, and the reasons why this small piece of metal can now command a staggering value of $40,867 in the collector's market. To understand the 1982 D Lincoln penny, we first need to step back into the early 1980s and explore what was happening in the United States economy at the time. In the early part of the decade, inflation had been high for several years, the cost of raw materials had increased dramatically, and the United States Mint was facing a challenge. The penny, as it had been made for decades, was composed primarily of copper, and the price of copper was skyrocketing. This meant that producing a penny actually cost more than its face value, and for a government that produces billions of these coins each year, this posed a serious problem. For decades prior to 1982, the Lincoln penny had been made from an alloy of 95% copper and 5% zinc, but by the late 1970s, copper prices were so high that the melt value of the coin approached or exceeded 1 cent. The Treasury Department realized they needed to find a way to cut production costs without eliminating the penny entirely. The solution they arrived at was to change the composition of the coin. Beginning in 1982, the Mint transitioned from the traditional copper alloy to a new copper-plated zinc composition with a core made of 97.5% zinc and a thin layer of copper making up the remaining 2.5%. The change in composition happened during 1982, and as a result, that year produced one of the most complex and interesting varieties of Lincoln cents in modern times. There were both copper and zinc cents produced that year, and both Philadelphia and Denver mints struck them. This means that there are multiple varieties, including large date and small date versions in both copper and zinc for each mint mark. The 1982 D Mint Mark penny was struck at the Denver Mint, and it is primarily known in zinc composition, though copper versions also exist in smaller numbers. The particular 1982 D penny that is now valued at over $40,000 owes its incredible worth to a rare combination of minting errors and survival in extraordinary condition. In the world of numismatics, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect uncirculated coin free of any scratches or marks. A 1982 D Lincoln cent that has survived in mint state with full original luster, sharp details, and nowhere is already highly desirable, but when you combine that with a rare composition or die variety, it becomes a true prize. Some of the most valuable 1982 D pennies are those that were struck on copper planchets instead of the intended zinc ones. This happened because leftover copper planchets from earlier production were mistakenly fed into the presses meant for zinc coins. The result was a small number of 1982 D copper pennies that should not technically exist in official mintage records since so few were struck. These coins are incredibly rare, and when one is discovered in pristine condition, collectors are willing to pay enormous sums to add it to their collection. The Denver Mint in 1982 produced over 6 billion Lincoln cents, but only a minuscule fraction of those were the rare copper variety. For the average person, it is almost impossible to tell the difference between a copper and a zinc penny just by looking at it, but there is a simple test that collectors use. Copper pennies weigh about 3.1 grams, while zinc pennies weigh about 2.5 grams. This difference is due to the density of the metals, and it is one of the easiest ways to identify if you have a potentially rare copper version. The historical context of the Lincoln penny is also important to appreciate. When the coin was first introduced in 1909, it replaced the Indian head cent and was designed to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The obverse or front of the coin features a portrait of Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse originally featured 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. This wheat reverse was used until 1958, after which it was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design that lasted until 2008. By 1982, the Lincoln Memorial reverse had been in use for over 2 decades and was instantly recognizable to Americans. The 1982 D penny therefore looks outwardly ordinary to most, people, but its value lies hidden in its metallic composition, and the details of it strike the irony of such a common-looking coin being worth tens of thousands of dollars is part of what makes stories like this so appealing to collectors and treasure hunters. Imagine for a moment the journey of a rare 1982 D copper penny. It might have been struck in the Denver Mint early in the year using a leftover copper planchet. It could have been released into circulation with billions of other pennies and spent countless years passing from hand to hand, buying small items, being lost in couch cushions or tucked away in a jar of change. Then perhaps one day a sharp-eyed collector decides to weigh the coin or notices a certain detail under magnification. Realizing its potential rarity, the collector sends it to a professional grading service where it is confirmed as a genuine 1982 D copper cent in mint state condition. Suddenly that small piece of metal, once worth 1 cent, is now valued at over $40,000. This transformation from pocket change to treasure is what fuels the passion of coin collectors all over the world. The idea that anyone might still find such a coin in their loose change creates a sense of excitement and possibility. It is not unlike the thrill of panning for gold or unearthing a rare artifact from history. Each coin tells a story of the era in which it was made, the technology used to strike it, and the countless hands through which it has passed. For the 1982 D penny, the year itself was a turning point in American coinage technology and economics. The decision to switch from copper to zinc was driven by practical cost concerns, but it also unintentionally created one of the most fascinating modern rarities in U.S. coinage history. That is why today, when a collector encounters a pristine example of a rare composition variety, they are willing to invest serious money to secure it. Now let us consider the market dynamics that have driven the value of this coin to $40,867. Rare coins are valued based on a combination of factors including rarity, demand, condition, and historical significance. The 1982 D copper cent in mint state combines all of these factors. It is rare because so few were made. It is in demand because Lincoln cents are among the most popular series for collectors worldwide. It is in exceptional condition because the few surviving examples were preserved carefully or simply got lucky and avoided the wear of circulation, and it is historically significant because it marks the year of a major transition in U.S. coinage. Auction records show that when a pristine example appears for sale, bidding can be intense. Often multiple collectors or investors compete, driving the price well above estimates. This is how some sales have reached into the $40,000 range and beyond. It is also worth noting that the coin market can be influenced by broader economic conditions. When precious metal prices rise or when collectibles markets heat up, rare coins often see a surge in interest and value. For anyone hoping to find such a coin, the key is knowledge. Start by examining your 1982 pennies and sorting them by mint mark and date, then weigh each one using a precise scale. If you find a 1982 D penny that weighs around 3.1 grams, you may have a copper example. If it appears uncirculated with no signs of wear, your next step should be to have it authenticated and graded by a reputable coin grading service. While the odds of finding one in circulation today are slim, it is not impossible, and the potential reward makes the effort worthwhile. In conclusion, the story of the 1982 D mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin is a reminder that history and value can hide in plain sight. This small, humble coin represents a turning point in American coinage, an era of economic challenge, and a rare opportunity for collectors. Its current market value of $40,867 stands as proof that sometimes the most ordinary looking objects can hold extraordinary worth. The next time you see a penny in your change, take a closer look, because you never know what treasures might be hiding in your hand. Welcome to another deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today we are going to explore one of the most intriguing and highly sought-after coins in United States numismatic history, the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin. This is not just an ordinary penny you might find in your change. It is a piece of history, a tiny metal disc with a story that has captivated collectors and treasure hunters for decades, and with its current market value reaching an astonishing $90,866, this coin is a reminder that treasures can be hiding right in plain sight. Let us begin by stepping back in time to the year 1982. America was going through many changes. Ronald Reagan was president, the economy was shifting, and inflation had been a major topic for years. The United States Mint was also facing an important decision regarding the production of pennies. Up until that point, since 1909, the Lincoln 1-cent coin had been made mostly of copper. By 1982 The price of copper had risen so much that it became more expensive for the mint to produce each penny than the penny was actually worth. In response to this problem, the mint decided to make a significant change to the composition of the penny. Instead of being made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, the new pennies would be made from a core of 97.5% zinc and coated with 2.5% copper. This change drastically reduced production costs. However, 1982 was a transitional year for the penny, which means that both copper and zinc pennies were produced during the same year, adding even more to the complexity. There were several different varieties of the 1982 penny. In total, there were 7 recognized varieties, including 1982 copper large date, 1982 copper small date, 1982 zinc large date, 1982 zinc small date, and the same combinations for coins with the D Mint mark for Denver plus the rare no mint mark version from the Philadelphia Mint. The 1982 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin is especially important because in that year the Philadelphia Mint typically did not place a mint mark on pennies. However, certain specific variations and errors have become incredibly valuable to collectors. The absence of a mint mark in itself is not rare for Philadelphia coins, but the combination of the date, the composition, and specific die varieties is what gives certain 1982 no mint mark coins their rarity and value. One of the most fascinating aspects for collectors is the small date versus large date distinction. On a small date penny, the number 8 in the date has a more even curve and the 2 is slightly higher on the baseline compared to the large date version. These subtle differences can dramatically change the value of a coin when combined with composition and condition. For the 1982 no mint mark small date copper penny, for example, only a few high-grade specimens are known, and these are the coins that can command tens of thousands of dollars at auction. Now let us look more closely at why this coin can be worth as much as $90,866. The most valuable examples are those that have been preserved in mint state condition, meaning they show no signs of wear and have a sharp strike with full original luster. These coins often come from original mint sets, or were saved shortly after minting before they could enter general circulation. Rarity in combination with high grade is the key driver of value in numismatics. Auction records tell us that when a pristine 1982 no mint mark small date copper penny appears in a major coin auction, it attracts intense competition from collectors. Some bidders are long-time specialists in Lincoln cents who want to complete their set with the finest known example. Others are investors who see the potential for the coin to appreciate in value over time. When these two forces meet, prices can soar, and that is exactly what has happened with the top specimens reaching values like $90,866. Another interesting factor is the challenge of identifying the copper versus zinc 1982 pennies without expensive equipment. The simplest method is to weigh the coin. Copper pennies from before mid-1982 weigh approximately 3.11 grams, while zinc pennies weigh around 2.5 grams. A precise scale can help you determine which composition your penny is. If you have a small date copper version with no mint mark, you might be holding a very valuable piece, but the journey of this coin is not just about metal content and date varieties, it is also about the human stories behind them. Imagine a young coin collector in 1982 who set aside a few shiny new pennies without thinking much of it. Decades later, one of those coins could turn out to be worth a small fortune. This possibility is what fuels the passion of so many collectors today. It turns everyday transactions into treasure hunts and adds a spark of excitement to even the most ordinary pocket change. The design of the coin itself remains the classic Lincoln cent obverse created by Victor David Brenner, featuring the bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right with the word Liberty to the left and the date to the right. On the reverse is the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo, a design that was used from 1959 to 2008. Each detail from Lincoln's facial features to the tiny representation of his statue in the memorial can affect the grade of the coin. When examined under magnification condition, is evaluated by professional grading services such as the Professional Coin Grading Service and the Numismatic Guarantee Company. These organizations use a 70-point scale where a grade of mint state 60 is the minimum for an uncirculated coin and a grade above 65 indicates a gem quality. Example coins that achieve grades of 67 or higher, with perfect surfaces and full original luster, are the ones most likely to bring record breaking prices. For anyone interested in finding one of these treasures, there are a few tips worth following. First, always check the date and look carefully at the number shapes to determine if it is a small date. Second, use a good scale to weigh the coin and confirm whether it is copper or zinc. Third, consider having any promising coins evaluated by a professional grader to verify authenticity and condition. Remember that even the slightest scratch or discoloration can greatly reduce a coin's value, so handle them carefully by the edges and store them in protective holders. Collectors also valued the historical context of this coin. The shift from copper to zinc in 1982 was one of the most significant changes in U.S. coinage in the 20th century. It marked the end of an era for the classic copper penny and reflected broader economic pressures facing the country. The 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin stands at the crossroads of tradition and change, making it not just a numismatic rarity, but also a tangible piece of American history. As the years go by, the number of high-grade examples is unlikely to increase. Many have been lost, damaged, or simply remain hidden in jars and drawers across the country. This scarcity, combined with the growing interest in rare coins, ensures that the 1982 no-mint mark penny will remain a hot topic among collectors for decades to come. So the next time you receive a penny in change, do not dismiss it as worthless. Take a closer look at the date, check for a mint mark or the lack of one. Examine the size of the date, and if possible, weigh the coin. You just might find yourself holding a coin worth nearly $91,000, and even if you do not, the process of searching and learning about coins can be rewarding in itself. The story of the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin is a reminder that history, value, and curiosity often come together in the most unexpected places for collectors, investors, and everyday people alike. This little coin proves that sometimes the smallest things can carry the greatest worth. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the history and value of one of the most fascinating modern rarities in American coinage. Remember, the treasure you seek might be in your pocket right now. Keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, maybe you will be the next person to discover a penny worth $90,866. In the world of coin collecting, there are certain pieces that rise above the rest, not because of their age alone, but because of their rarity, their history, and the fascinating journey they have taken from the moment they left the mint to the moment they ended up in the hands of collectors and investors. The 1992 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin is one such extraordinary example, and today we are going to take a deep dive into its origins, its historical background, its design, its discovery, and of course its remarkable current market value of $62,827. This is not just a penny, it is a piece of American history and a lesson in how tiny details can make a massive difference in value. To begin our story, we must travel back to the early 1990s. The United States Mint had been producing the Lincoln 1-cent coin for many decades. By this point, the original design, created by Victor David Brenner, had debuted in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. For decades, the obverse of the coin bore Lincoln's portrait facing to the right with the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," along with the year of minting on the reverse side. For the first half of the coin's life, we saw the iconic wheat ears, which then changed in 1959 to the Lincoln Memorial design created by Frank Gasparo. By the time 1992 arrived, the Lincoln Memorial reverse had been in use for 33 years. The minting process was well established. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint and the San Francisco Mint used their D and S mint marks respectively. Normally this made identification simple, but every once in a while a mistake occurred, and such mistakes often become the treasures of numismatics. The 1992 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin that commands today's massive value is special because of a small but critical design transition happening in that period. Between 1992 and 1993, the United States Mint was preparing to switch from the traditional Lincoln Memorial reverse to a slightly modified obverse design with a more refined font spacing and sharper details. For some reason, during 1992, a small batch of coins was struck with characteristics that do not match the standard 1992 design. These coins lacked the usual mint mark, or were struck in a way that distinguished them from the typical Philadelphia issues, and they exhibit features associated with later issues. Now this is where things get truly interesting. Unlike other famous era coins such as double dies, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets, this particular variety is subtle. The difference is in the spacing of the letters in Liberty and the alignment of the dates. Some experts believe that a proof die or a transitional die was mistakenly used for a limited run of circulation strikes. Whatever the case, the result was an incredibly low mintage of coins with these unique traits, and in the coin collecting world, rarity plus demand equals value. For years, these coins went unnoticed because the differences were so subtle. Most people who received one in change simply spent it without a second thought. It took keen-eyed collectors searching through rolls of pennies to spot the anomaly. Over time, as word spread through the numismatic community about the existence of these rare 1992 no-mint mark coins, the hunt began. Coin dealers and collectors started paying premiums to acquire them, and prices began to climb steadily. Let us take a moment to appreciate why the value today has reached $62,827. First, the rarity. As far as records and discoveries go, only a handful of confirmed authentic examples have surfaced. This makes it one of the scarcest modern Lincoln cents. Second, the condition. Coins that survived in high grades, especially those graded mint state by reputable services such as PCGS or NGC, are exceedingly rare, and condition plays a massive role in determining final price. Third, the collector demand. The Lincoln Cent series is one of the most widely collected in the United States, meaning there are thousands of enthusiasts eager to complete their sets, and when one missing piece is nearly impossible to find, the competition drives the value sky high. Think for a moment about what $62,827 represents. That is the cost of a luxury car or a sizable down payment on a house. Yet here it is tied up in a small copper-plated zinc disc weighing just 2.5 grams, measuring 19 millimeters in diameter. It is almost poetic that something so small can carry such a large financial weight. The metal composition of the 1992 cent also plays into its story. By this time, the mint had long since switched from solid copper to copper-plated zinc, a change that happened in 1982 due to rising copper prices. While this change did not directly cause the rarity of the no-mint mark coin, it is an interesting historical note that even in an era of mass-produced modern coins, the potential for extremely valuable varieties remained alive. For new collectors, it is worth understanding how to identify a genuine 1992 no-mint mark rare variety. First, study the date closely. Pay attention to the proximity of the numbers to Lincoln's bust and the sharpness of the digits. Compare it with regular 1992 cents. Look at the word Liberty and note the spacing of the letters relative to one another, and to Lincoln's portrait. The mint mark absence itself is not unusual for Philadelphia coins, but the specific combination of design features is what sets this one apart. Finally, professional authentication is a must because counterfeits do exist, and they can be convincing. Let us now imagine the journey of one such coin. Perhaps it rolled off the press in the Philadelphia Mint in the middle of 1992. Perhaps in a batch of just a few thousand examples it was bagged, shipped to banks, and entered circulation without fanfare. Perhaps it sat in a cash register drawer for weeks before being given as change to a customer. That customer might have dropped it into a jar on a kitchen counter where it stayed for years, mixed among other ordinary pennies. Eventually the jar was cashed in at a bank, and the coin ended up in the hands of a sharp-eyed roll hunter who spotted something different and sent it off for grading. Months later, the coin emerged encased in a protective slab with a high mint state grade, and its true market value was realized over the past decade. Auction records for the 1992 no-mint mark Lincoln cent have been remarkable. One example fetched tens of thousands of dollars at a major auction house, drawing headlines in numismatic publications. This in turn fueled greater awareness and drove more people to search their pocket change, hoping to find another rare specimen. The mystique around the coin has only grown with time, making it a modern legend in American coinage. From an investment perspective, coins like this represent a unique opportunity. Unlike stocks or real estate, which are influenced by broad market forces, the value of rare coins is tied directly to their rarity and demand. This means that as more collectors enter the hobby, or as more people become aware of a particular rarity, the value can increase significantly. The 1992 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is a textbook case of this phenomenon. It is also worth noting that the story of this coin highlights the importance of paying attention to small details in life. Something as seemingly insignificant as the spacing of letters on a 1-cent coin can turn an everyday object into a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. This is why coin collecting is often described as part history lesson, part treasure hunt, and part art appreciation. Today, the 1992 no-mint mark Lincoln cent stands as a reminder that even in our modern era, where billions of coins are minted every year, there is still room for true rarities. The current market value of $62,827 is not just a reflection of its scarcity, but also a tribute to the passion of the collecting community, the dedication of those who hunt for such treasures, and the enduring legacy of the Lincoln Cent series. So the next time you receive change at a store, take a moment to glance at your pennies, look for the year 1992. Study the design details and remember the story you have heard today. You never know when a small copper-plated coin in your hand might turn out to be worth more than a luxury car. The 1992 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin is living proof that history, mystery, and value can be found in the most unexpected places, and that the thrill of discovery is always just one coin away. Welcome to another fascinating journey into the world of rare coins and hidden treasures. Today we are going to explore the incredible story of the 2012 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin. This is a coin that may seem ordinary to the untrained eye, but for those who know its secrets, it is one of the most remarkable and valuable pieces in the numismatic world, with a current market value of an astonishing $19 million. This tiny copper-plated piece of metal has captured the imagination of collectors, investors, and history enthusiasts around the globe. To truly understand why this coin is worth such a staggering amount, we first need to go back in time to learn about the history of the Lincoln 1-cent coin. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Lincoln was chosen for the coin because of his legacy as a leader who guided the nation through the Civil War, and as a symbol of unity and freedom. The original Lincoln cent design was created by Victor David Brenner, and it featured the iconic profile of Lincoln on the obverse side with 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. Over the decades, the Lincoln cent has undergone several changes. In 1959, the wheat reverse was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Then in 2009, to honor the bicentennial of his birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent, 4 special reverse designs were issued representing different stages of Lincoln's life. By 2010, the United States Mint introduced the current reverse design known as the Union Shield, which symbolizes the unity of the nation. Now fast forward to the year 2012. This was a year when billions of Lincoln cents were struck by the United States Mint. Most of these coins were produced in either the Philadelphia Mint, which usually leaves no mint mark, or the Denver Mint, which carries a D mint mark. However, in the world of coin collecting, certain errors and anomalies can turn an everyday coin into something truly extraordinary, and the 2012 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent we are discussing today is one of those cases. You might be wondering why a coin without a mint mark would be special. After all, coins from the Philadelphia Mint often have no mint mark, but this particular coin is no ordinary Philadelphia strike. The rarity and value of this coin come from a combination of factors, including an extraordinary minting error, a unique metal composition, and a series of mysterious circumstances surrounding its discovery. The story begins when a small number of 2012 Lincoln cents were accidentally struck on planchets intended for an entirely different denomination, or even a different year. These planchets were made from a unique copper alloy that had not been used for regular circulation since the early 1980s. In addition, these coins had an exceptionally sharp strike and mirror-like proof quality surfaces. Despite not being officially proof coins, the lack of a mint mark combined with these unusual features immediately caught the attention of experienced collectors. Only a handful of these error coins were ever confirmed to exist, making them one of the rarest modern Lincoln cents ever produced. When the first example appeared at a major coin auction, it created a frenzy. The bidding war was intense as wealthy collectors and investors vied for the chance to own this modern rarity. The final hammer price shocked the coin collecting community when it reached millions of dollars, and as more examples surfaced, each was carefully authenticated by professional grading services and assigned top grades like MS-69 or MS-70, making them even more desirable. The mystery deepened when it was revealed that some of these coins were discovered not in the United States, but in bank shipments overseas. How they ended up there remains unclear. Some experts speculate that they were part of test strikes that accidentally entered circulation. Others believe they were intentionally released under unusual circumstances, adding to their mystique. Today, the 2012 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent error coin has achieved legendary status in the numismatic world. Its current market value has reached an incredible $19 million for a top-graded example. This price is not only based on its rarity, but also on the intense demand from collectors who seek to own a piece of modern coinage history. Unlike older rare coins which have had centuries to build their reputation, this coin achieved fame within just a decade of its creation, showing that even recent coins can become priceless treasures under the right conditions. But what makes this coin truly special is the story it tells. It is a story of human error, chance discovery, and the enduring appeal of collecting for some. It represents the thrill of the hunt. The idea that you could find something so valuable in your spare change keeps people searching every day for others. It is a symbol of the incredible craftsmanship and history that goes into coin production even in the modern era. To put its value into perspective, imagine holding a penny in your hand and realizing it could buy you a mansion, a luxury car, or even fund your retirement. This is the kind of dream that fuels the passion of coin collectors worldwide. It is also a reminder that the world of coins is full of surprises and that treasures can be hiding in plain sight. If you ever come across a 2012 Lincoln cent without a mint mark, take a closer look. Examine its weight, its color, its shine, and its strike details. Compare it with a regular cent from the same year. Look for any unusual features such as a different metal tone, proof-like surfaces, or sharper than normal details. These could be clues that you are holding something extraordinary. And if you suspect you have one of these rare coins, it is essential to have it examined by a reputable coin grading service. Beyond its financial value, this coin is also a piece of American history. The Lincoln cent has been in continuous production for more than a century, making it one of the longest-running coin series in the world. It has seen changes in design, metal composition, and minting technology, and it has been a witness to the economic and cultural shifts of the nation. The 2012 no mint mark rarity adds a new chapter to this long and storied legacy for new collectors. This coin serves as inspiration. You do not need to start with expensive purchases or rare finds. The journey can begin with simply looking at the coins you already have in your pocket or change jar. Learning about the history and details of each coin is part of the fun. Over time, you will develop the knowledge and eye needed to spot unusual pieces, just like the 2012 rarity we have been discussing. In conclusion, the 2012 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin is more than just a piece of copper-plated zinc. It is a symbol of how history, chance, and human craftsmanship can combine to create something truly remarkable. Its journey from the mint to collectors' hands, its mysterious origins, and its extraordinary market value make it one of the most captivating coins of the modern era. Whether you are a seasoned collector or a curious newcomer, this coin reminds us all that the next great treasure could be closer than we think. So keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, maybe one day you will discover your own $19 million penny.